So, I submitted the title and abstract for this talk in February, which seems like it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But I do think the title still works. Facts aren't enough to make compelling public messaging, and people have always believed weird things. That's not an internet thing. That's just a people thing. The internet just makes things a little more entertaining, this is one of my favorite examples. Experts have always struggled with trying not to be the, well, actually, jerk at the party. You've heard all of these, right? Daddy Longlegs can kill you. You can kill fire ants with grits, they'll explode. We've always been struggling to counter false information. It's just that the volume and the nature of the information that we're trying to struggle with has really changed. And I chose this photo to represent 2020 because of the age of the person holding the sign. It's a kid. He probably got all of this from his parents, from his friends. If I walk into his classroom and say, yeah, everything here is, all of that's wrong, it's a waste of my time because facts are not enough. And I have had middle school kids tell me everything online is fake. So how do we deal with students that don't believe anything, don't trust anything? This is the environment that we have to somehow convince them of new insect information. The other thing that's happening is that things got really scary. And so belief systems are what cement identities, relationships, help form communities, and some of the communities that have been formed are extremely frightening and violent. And one of the things that means is when the news is scary, people stop consuming news and media. I mean, I don't know about you, I have definitely altered how much media I consume in the last few years. And so what happens is people tune out. So now people are consuming less news, and we're still charged with delivering insect news to them. How do we do that? So traditional extension is writing targeted publications and has great advice in it, and it's really important. And putting words online is good, but it's not going to be enough. And ultimately, what counts for tenure and promotion are the publications that we make, extension bulletins, scientific papers. The way that we write those affects what audiences we reach or what audiences we alienate. In this case, this is a cool research paper. If I look at your website, will I see myself? Not really, according to this. Is your website accessible for people with disabilities? Did you want to read this paper? Because you're going to need a lot of money. So the difference is scale. Evidence can be manufactured and spread on a scale that it didn't used to be. And seeing isn't believing anymore because some stuff really is fake. One of the things that I want you to understand is that the infrastructure on which all of our education and communication happens is built around profit. So 43% of the web traffic internationally goes to Google and YouTube. Facebook is the next 20%-ish chunk. Everybody else just has tiny little slivers of the pie. Reddit, Twitter, whatever. Nah, small potatoes. So everything, where things show up on the search engine page, how often a video is recommended by an algorithm, how often a post on Facebook is recommended or shared. All of that is about profit because eyeballs and clicking and ads are what run the web. And that is way more important than facts and accuracy. And there are people who make a living posting stuff on Facebook and YouTube that is questionable. For example, Coyote Peterson. He's built an entire career out of making kids afraid of things that sting and bite. He is immensely popular. He makes an estimated, wait for it, $300,000 a month off of his video empire. How does it work? Because he understands, a lot of times people say it's clickbait. No, it's emotional engineering. And I've said this a bunch of times. There is a massive data-focused industry that figures out how to make you click things and buy things. And there really is a formula to it. And one of the reasons I'm standing here is probably because I was a part of that industry. I worked for Wired, I worked for Washington Post, and yeah, we would get the formula. And the two most important pieces of anything that we're doing is a photo and a title. Because the photo and the title are the first things anyone sees, and a lot of times it's the only thing people see. And I know there are people watching this that have shared stuff on Facebook without clicking the link and making sure that it was a good story. You know you are. You know. So why am I not making six figures? That's a great question. I wish I knew. I think it's because I went into writing instead of video, first mistake, and 5 cents a word isn't a lot to live on. But mostly it's because making people angry and afraid is a lot more profitable than making them inspired or informed. And when we continue to communicate in our very standard science jargon, we're just not competitive. We can't keep doing what we've been doing. And if you've watched all the papers in this symposium, you've noticed that a lot of early career folks are doing amazing outreach, and they're doing it on their own time. They're doing it with their own voice. And honestly, that's how I got my job at Wired. I was writing on my own time, and I developed a unique voice which had butts, memes, and emojis. And that fit pretty well with what Wired wanted. But why wasn't that part of our jobs? Why doesn't it count? Because if I used the same humor and informal language and cultural references and memes that I do in my social media or in my writing career for my professional academic career, it would not go well. It just wouldn't go well. And in order to do all of the things that's happening, to be as successful as some of these folks, you need all of this expertise. In particular, you need social science. Because in addition to knowing how to build a website and how to make your website accessible, you also need to understand people. And what makes people tick? What is a compelling message? What will make people take action? How do people receive your information? All of that is social science. The other thing that's happening is universities have been slow to provide all of this expertise to us. And maybe that'll happen, maybe that won't. Another alternative would be for universities to begin to recognize that this work is just as valid as publishing in Science and Nature. If you can get 500,000 people to watch your video, that should knock your H-index to the moon, as far as I'm concerned. That's way better than a great paper, because you've actually created change and reached a huge audience. So here's a little case study on extension communication. Should I kill spiders in my home? An entomologist explains why not to. This article is written by an extension specialist. You can see here that it's been copied and reproduced at several different and unique venues. It's easily had, just in this particular section of the year, it had over 250,000 shares. Have you ever written anything that had that many shares? I haven't, and I worked for Wired and the Washington Post. The best I ever got was 22,000. So this is huge. How did it happen? Yeah, okay. So this article was written as Creative Commons, which means Matt retains authorship, but it can also be shared easily. And the one thing our for-profit communication system needs is content. So here he's given away fantastic content for people to just copy, paste, and make money off of. And this thing was picked up by Time magazine. That's how far it spread. So how do we convince our bosses that giving stuff away for free is okay? Because right now, if I write stuff, Purdue wants to copyright it. And it's a challenge for me, especially as an educator, because they want everything to be branded. Because all of, for example, lesson plans are copyright protected, it's really difficult for me to share them with teachers. There are large educational websites I would love to share things on, but they will not let me because they do not allow copyright protected materials. If it was Creative Commons, I could share it. But a publication is not a conversation, and a website is not a conversation. To really change our audiences, we have to put our science in a social context. We have to admit, yeah, we're not really objective. We have to think about issues of power, community dynamics. We have to build trust. For me to listen to you, I need to know you and know where you're coming from, and to know that I am safe with you and that I should listen to you. Just showing up and saying, hey, I'm the expert, here's what you need to do, that is no, it's not going to happen. And building trust is not easy. It takes work and time and a lot of just showing up. If you really want to change anything, you have to shut up and start listening. And let the audience that you want to reach drive the conversation. What feelings do you see them having? What is motivating them? Can you find things that you have in common? For communities that have been historically harmed or disenfranchised, it will take a really long time to build trust, which is reasonable. And you can't expect to just be trusted because you have a PhD. You have to earn trust. And so the way to connect is to let go of, well, actually, and focus on what is the change that you want. And I want to really focus on this as something that's been really critical this year and that we've really seen play out in 2020. That the pandemic magnified all of the inequalities that already existed. And since we're talking about digital outreach, I want to point out that for low-income parents, they said 60% of them said their kids would experience at least one of these obstacles. Having to do their schoolwork on a cell phone, having to use public Wi-Fi to finish their homework, and just not being able to do homework at all because they don't have access to a computer. That's huge. That's huge, and that's a big problem. If you have printables, yeah, these folks can't print them. Lower income parents are families of $30,000 or less. That is roughly 48% of the US population. So, here is an audience at Bug Bowl. And when you are putting on educational events, look around and see who's not there. We have a lot of data about who goes to science festivals, like Bug Bowl, which is what you see here, and who goes to science museums. And the data is really depressing because the people who go, and this has held constant for about 20 years, are overwhelmingly white, wealthy, and college educated, which again is a very small proportion of the US population. And what we need to ask is who isn't in the picture? Who isn't here because they're working 3 part-time jobs? Who isn't here because there is no public transportation to get them here and they're not in a car? Who isn't here because they don't have childcare, so they can't make that evening extension workshop? Who isn't here because they don't feel like it's a safe place for them to be? They don't feel like it's a welcoming environment. And the biggest question, these are known unknowns, right? We know they're not here, but how the hell are we supposed to reach these audiences to ask them why they are not reaching them? It's not easy. If you want to build bridges to new audiences, you have to build a solid foundation first. Because nobody's going to go across your bridge if they don't trust you to build it correctly. You have to have permission to build the bridge. And you need to build the bridge that your audience wants. And in a system that is profoundly broken, maintaining the status quo keeps it broken. It's really hard to have mutual respect and collegiality when there is violence on the table. This picture is from a college campus. Academics cannot be in denial about this, about what is happening. If you still think science is separate from politics, from human biases, after the last few years, I just don't even know what to tell you. And I was really thinking about this year. Those of you who are on NTMOL got to see a wide variety of intriguing comments along the lines of science is apolitical. This is from an entomologist. And I had quite a few discussions with people who said, oh, this was a really important resource. I loved it. It shouldn't have been shut down. And that is really awesome. I'm really glad that you had access to that community. I never did. It was never a resource for me. I was never safe there. I was harassed the whole time I was there, and I left 10 years ago and never came back. So what's the point of building a resource that is inhospitable and unpleasant for people who need to use it? How many of you who are students or who work in extension or who teach extension methods courses talk about the fact that for over 50 years, there were two completely separate extension services, one black and one white? That there was an entire 4-H Negro club for 60 years that was separate. That the reason there are two ag colleges in a lot of states is that it's racism. That's why. Did anybody talk to you about that? Did anybody talk to you about how our land-grant universities basically were founded by taking land away from indigenous people? The Morrill Act, we all learn about the Morrill Act in extension, right? How many of you also learned that it was essentially swiping a lot of land? Some of it ostensibly under a treaty, but the vast majority of it, no. Just took it. And we're still on it now. What has your university done to address this? We have now more representation, but the shadow here, Ruby Bridges, she's still alive. She's only 10 years older than Kamala Harris. When I was a kid in Houston, I was part of school busing to end desegregation. We've been doing this for a really long time. And the hate we have seen the last few years, that is not new. But because of technology, that hate is amplified in ways that we have not had to deal with before. And it comes back to trust. We have to build trust. We have to respect the values we want to see. And we have to also own it when we screw up. And we have to keep showing up, even when it's really hard and really uncomfortable. And even when you don't see the results right away. So the next time you find yourself saying, well, actually, pause and instead say, why do you think that? What makes you say that? Tell me more about why you feel that way.